Okay, I'm ready.
Get ready. We're about to be live.
There we go.
It's so quiet. I don't have music on. I need music.
Got it. Okay, went ahead and shared it. It's ready.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I need all my share warrior friends out there to share this. We got us a badass artist here. We need to share it. All right. We're about to start our interview, y'all. I hope you're excited as I am. Here we go. All right. Let's see what we got. I have here for you guys today. My name's Farah Hunter. I'm with KM420Radio. And we play lots of indie artists. And we love our San Antonio indie artists. They're so fabulous down there. I got to do a jam and fam. I got to meet a whole bunch. And Jassiel Gomez was one of the people that I was able to meet. Now, let me tell you about Jassiel, y'all. He is a jack of all trades. He's a multi-talented artist. He freelances photography, digital design, videography. He's an editor, as far as I know. He has a music experimentation through complex creatures. So we're going to talk a little about that. Let's see, he's creative director for Anomaly Productions as well. And let's see, he also fills in bass for Low Fuzz. I know that because I love Low Fuzz. And just so you know a little bit about Jassiel, he loves working with other artists because he feels artists thrive under critique and energy exchange. So I love it. So welcome Jassiel.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Woo, I'm so excited to be interviewing you. I got to meet you, and that was amazing. We had a little jam and fam on February 7th, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was the same day of the Super Bowl till that day.
Yeah, I don't really follow, so...
I'm so happy you don't. I was like, oh no, what have I done? All right. Well, I'm going to start our interview now that I've given you your awesome introduction. I want to know what or who drives you?
Who drives me? Honestly, I feel like it's just it's me challenging myself and me driving myself because honestly, you know, you always are your worst critic. Even when I write new music, there's moments where I'm like, okay, this sounds too similar to another song. And then so you just like stoke the fire, like you just stop it right then and there when it could be something more. So instead what I do is like, I'll keep recording little bits and pieces, but ultimately, you can psych yourself out and say that it's not worth it and you just don't pick it up ever again. And that's like a missed opportunity. So definitely my own, like I'm no longer in competition with anybody else because as you mentioned about sports, like I just can't do like, I guess, you know, like you go to a grocery store and then like you're like everyone against each other, super aggressive. It's like a lot more stress than you need in your life. And so once you let that go, you realize, hey, you know, did you know that you don't have to be aggressive against people? Not everybody's out to get you. Did you know that it's never like me versus them and like me going out for my own? There's like people out there that are actually willing to work as a community.
Yes.
So I think that's like super great to like make that realization. And, you know, when you're on the right path, you get like a lot of messages from, you know, wherever you can find them. Like it could be somebody that you meet and they tell you something, you're like, yeah, you know, I've been on a similar path. Or it's like almost like intuition, you know, you're on the right path when you get those kinds of messages from people, friends and family, or even like a higher calling, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, in San Antonio, you guys have such a strong community of the artists. You guys are so strong. You guys support each other. It's just beautiful down there. I love it. I'm going to come down there every month if I can. So I'm curious myself, really, what type of digital art do you specialize in? Like, what do you do?
I could start off with when I started going to UTSA. I went to UTSA to try to get a degree in graphic design, but they actually didn't offer that. So I didn't really know what I was going to UTSA for. And then I started doing photography for starters. And then when I went into photography, we had access to Photoshop. And so that was pretty much the start of the journey. It took a long time for me to get used to it because, you know, there's so many buttons that you don't even know what they're for.
Mhm.
And then shortly after, like maybe a year in, I got into Illustrator, and that's when I was into color theory. So that's kind of where I was like, this is dope. I can do this all day. I love the idea of like colors interacting with each other.
Yes.
So you learn about like the color wheel and the like everything that complements with each other. And so I think because I wasn't able to get a degree in graphic design or digital design, I took everything that I knew. I know that we had this discussion before. I just like take everything that I know and I kind of map it out and I say, well, I want to do an animation. Can I do it? Well, I can draw. I understand like Adobe Animate or Adobe Flash as it used to be called. So it's basically like building a frame at a time, filling in the color.
Mm.
So I told Low Fuzz, I'm like, hey, so check this out. I can do this for you. I can do that for you. And that's why I become such like, I work in the background a lot. I think
Mhm.
the only time that I'm up front is when I'm playing bass for Fuzz. Other than that, you won't really see me work because I'm like editing a video for him. I'm editing an animation for him. I'm building like, I'm orchestrating some music in the background. So everything that I do, even like the digital design, which I actually use an Apple, like a tablet
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
a pencil. I get that from work. I would like to thank my work for that. But I do a lot of personal projects too. So it's like I've had a history of drawing, but I more than anything, I like to do like simple outlines and then I mess with the color. And so that's definitely something that I always want to do because I've been
Love.
drawing since I was like in elementary school. That comes natural. It's just I've gotten better over time.
Well, yeah, anytime you practice, you perfect it and you get so
Yeah,
good at it. Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh. I love that. All
What's your
right. Well,
favorite
I have a
genre?
lot to learn from you since you work behind the scenes with Low Fuzz and I work behind the scenes with Low Fuzz. We should both be working behind the scenes
Yeah.
together and
Yeah,
teach.
every once in a while I'm tempted, like, let me do something for you. Let me make like a graphic work for you or like a GIF. I can do
Yes,
simple stuff like that. And it doesn't take too long. It takes like maybe a week max because it's like I think the hardest part is just getting started, like sitting down and having the idea because if not, you're gonna keep drawing and grinding away and
right.
you may or may not get the idea and it's just super disheartening, I guess, when it doesn't come to you. So it's like dealing with that. And I think smarter, not harder.
Yes.
So I don't even touch the tablet until I have somewhat of an idea of like, okay, these are the colors that I want to mess with. These are like, this is like the design. Super
Yeah.
cool stuff.
For me, I've been working on digital art as far as flyers go. And for me, it's all about finding my background. If I can find my
Hmm.
background, I'm
For sure.
inspired and I can make the flyer up. It's easy.
So what do you use for?
Um, I use a few things. My favorite is Canva,
Mhm.
but
Do
for
you
the
pay for that
word
one?
stuff, I like Word Swag.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
Ooh, it's a good one. On the iPad, it's on the iPad. It's very good. Very user friendly.
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with Canva because of my work. I actually used to not like it too much, but well, I think when we had gotten the paid version, it just like opened up so many possibilities, and
Yeah,
you have simple stuff like setting up the background and then animating the words to come around. That's like super crazy that it's like free, and then when you pay for it, you just get so much more of that.
you do. It
Yeah.
changes everything. I need to learn that. I'm going to go play with it now. Okay. After this interview. All right. So I also see that you do musical experimentation. So, and that's called Complex Creatures. So tell me a
Mhm.
little about that.
Yeah, so I used to watch. I love, YouTube is like super amazing. I've been into like I used like 2013 and up. I would just go to YouTube and look for like playlists to listen to, and I think around that time that's when like lo-fi and like a bunch of like music that like could help relax me while I was like editing stuff came around. What was your question? I totally forgot.
With musical
Okay.
experimentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I stumbled upon like certain videos that really changed the way I viewed music. Like when I was 16, 17, you would have caught me playing like some AC/DC because it's like simple enough. It's like power chords and stuff.
Yes.
But then I found John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers. And so there was like a 13-minute video where he says like, you're really tempted to play music the way you know how to do it. Like if you play a full chord, it's going to sound full, and that's great. But at some point when you get to a certain level of musicianship, you have to like start asking the whys. Like, why should I play it this way? What is it? Like, why should I have a guitar there if it's just like playing rhythm? And if I'm playing a full chord, what happens if I play it in a certain way? Or what if I pick it? You're trying to build like the way I describe my music is instead of like a road, which, you know, every song could be. It's like from point A to point B, and there's like a journey on the way. I
Hmm.
like to consider it a room to where I'm trying to have you sit in the middle, and I'm gonna like drench you in sound, and I'm gonna have you, one, like possibly dance, but two, also like start questioning things, you know. So it's like finding a good balance between building a sound, learning when to cut it, working on your dynamic. That's overall more important than like just making a full sound. You know, you can make a full sound
Yes.
super easy by like adding a bunch of instruments, but what
Yes.
happens if you don't? What happens if you stick to minimalism? People will notice that, and there's like a simplicity to that, which is super cool. So that's like what I always tell myself when I'm making music. And you know, I always try to tell, not tell a story, but like build a story, kind of like build a world. So I have like three songs. One of them that Fuzz is working on right now. One of them that's been released is called Creep Wave. But there's one song that's like ready to go, but I just haven't released it because it's supposed to be like a 3-song release. It's called Saturn Skin, and that song is just amazing, and it feels like a western. And so that's actually uh, something that I had been working on with my last project, The Skirts. And it's like it feels like a dark western, but it's like sci-fi. I love sci-fi, so
I love that.
yeah,
I can't wait for it to come out now.
I can't wait either.
I don't think I knew about this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see. I want to know, how did you meet Low Fuzz?
Yeah, so I was in the band The Skirts. Their music is out there. It's still on Bandcamp if you guys want to hear it. And the guitarist David, I really have to thank him like so much because he was like such a hard worker, and he was on Craigslist, and so he was the one that would always look for like new members and like new gig opportunities and recording studios because
Hmm.
we were looking to record a few songs, and so that's when he ran into Low Fuzz. And this was a while back. I think it was like might have been 2016 or 2017 when I met Fuzz for the first time. I feel like it was 2017. But we talked to him for a good while. We went to his place. He showed us like his setup, and that was when he was living like at his old place.
Hmm.
And he was like a different Fuzz back then. You know, like there's so much that's changed about him. Like the way he has his hair is super cool. I think that's more Low Fuzz.
Yes.
And he helped us record at least three of our songs. It was "The Death of Caesar," a song called "Robbery," and a song called "Ghost in the Church." And so those three songs was my first experience with him. And after that, we kind of like just stayed talking every once in a while, but we never mingled. And then probably like last year in March when lockdown happened, I hit him up and I'm like, I need to make friends with this guy. And I had gone to like an open mic before lockdown. We went to the High Horse Lounge and I got to almost see him perform. I saw a few other artists, but I had to go because one of my friends was a little too drunk and I had to take him home. But
Happens.
you know, I was like, I have to make this guy my friend, and I have to like consider him for like future projects because one, he's like a good person. Two, we have a repertoire now. Like he's helped us record some stuff, and he definitely deserves the time of day for like for me to collaborate with him. And I didn't realize it was gonna be such a big thing. Like I didn't think that I would be here, you know, part of like Anomaly Productions, like creative director, um, you know, getting interviewed by KM420Radio. Like back then, it was just like, hey, dude, like, how have you been? Like, I think you're like a good person to have around versus like the other people that I kind of like let go over time.
One thing I love to do with Low Fuzz is brainstorm. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He always keeps you second, guessing, giving you different perspectives and that sort of thing. So that's
Exactly. The brainstorm, the exchange of energy, critique. That's something that I learned from school, and like everybody, it's super great for artists to have that because if you're by yourself, you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. You don't know if you're in the right direction or not.
that's right. That's right. Okay, let's see. What are your thoughts on mental health and artists?
Uh, so okay, I had like a string of like bad relationships, and then there was like just times when I was single, but I was out to look for a relationship, right?
Right.
And most of the time it was because me and somebody else, whoever like I partnered up with at the time, was like tired of being lonely, and I feel like that's no longer something that I want to do. You know, that's not a good enough reason to like be in a relationship. But like the craziest thing is that I didn't know what I was doing the whole time
Right.
because I wasn't taught that in like in school. we don't have like that kind of education right now to where people tell you like, if for example you don't have the proper tools to have like proper empathy for someone, you can't get that from like just standard education. And so I actually took some therapy in 2019 for about 7 weeks. And after that, it was so crazy because, somebody was picking your brain. You would tell them something and they would just rearrange the words to where you would understand. You're like, I never thought of it that way. And so it was like a string suddenly of aha moments where
Yes.
I understood myself a lot more. And because I did that, I think I was like, okay, I suddenly have ambition to learn more about myself, to have like a better understanding of my own mental health. And that's when I started letting go of certain things that I didn't need anymore. That's like doing stuff with like their competitions, instead of like, making friends and being like, I care about what you do. It's no longer like, it's cool. You're a cool person, but I'm gonna take you down. And, like those are two different mindsets that you have to like,
Mm.
I couldn't do that anymore. And so now I'm in a better place. I'm a pretty calm person. And that's like, thanks to other things that you're familiar with. Um, but yeah, like that's where I'm at now. Like mental health is pretty great to like, to understand. And that's something that I encourage for everybody to like, to learn about because,
Mhm.
we
A
might
lot
not
of
all
it
be.
is self-love. A
Hmm?
lot of it's self-love.
Yes, for sure.
That's what a lot of it boils down to. But yeah, you need that through therapy sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
That's,
know, THC absolutely helps with mental health. It helps with PTSD. So does CBD. If you don't have CBD, afterwards, let me know. I'll make sure you have some because it's
well,
integral. You should have both, in my opinion. Anyway. All right. So I also know that you are on Jonathan and his stories, the cartoon, and you have like, I think you have like a side role. Can you tell me what you're doing?
yeah. So as a creative director, I ask Fuzz a lot of questions. I ask him all the time, like, okay, so tell me about this character. Like, how do you want them to act? What kind of person are they? And that's again the think smarter, not harder. Because the more I know about a person, the more I know what they would look like. The more I know like what they would carry with them, their personality. And so I never really thought about making a character for myself that was different from me. It was always like it was going to be me, like some guy with like a black leather jacket, a white shirt underneath, and like a black hat with like a big brim. And at some point, Fuzz asked me like, "So you just want to look like yourself? Like you don't want to look like anything else?" And then so I was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "Yeah," with a question mark at the end, like, "Yeah." So I kind of want to make like a character for myself, but as of now, I think the only thing that I've contributed to like actual Jonathan and his stories that would be found in there is like a piano track that I played over like Christina's like narration.
Okay.
Um, and then I made an animation to that. So it's like me playing piano, but that's like the most that I've done. In the future, I'm hoping to like, because I have Complex Creatures, which is like not necessarily under Anomaly Productions, but I will be making more music that's like definitely Complex Creatures, but under Anomaly Productions. So I'm going to be a character, but I'm also going to be like helping people figure out like, or helping Low Fuzz figure out like the scenes and like even advertising. As you know, I've suggested like the idea of a 4-panel comic because I think that's easy enough because it's like a series of mini cliffhangers, but I don't want that to be like the tried and true. This is what you have to go for 100% of the time because I'm totally about breaking tradition, like with those kinds of things. If somebody tells you like this is how you do it, this is how it's done, this is how it's always been done, why aren't you doing it like that? That gives me every reason to not do it like that. So I'm not really gonna like push people to like do it a certain way if they want to do it another way, as long as it's beautiful, as long as like it pushes like the bigger idea that we have going on here.
Hell yeah, it does. I love it. I love it. All right. I have one more question for you. I
Yeah.
want to know all your shout outs. Anybody that you just want to give shout outs to?
Yes, so at some point I was a shitty person and I can say that now because when you if you don't if you like see something that you did just a few years ago and you like cringe at it, that's because you've developed as a person and you understand that there was something that you did back then that was just not, it's not passable now. So I have like everybody to thank who stuck with me while I was that person and saw me become this person, because you know a lot of people left my life. There was like, I lost so many friends, but really were they friends if they left me and they just like didn't bother to like find out for themselves what happened. But more importantly, like specifically Low Fuzz, because Low Fuzz has been there. Like the way I'm there for him, he's there for me, because I go through so many hard times. Like I always tell him like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty depressed today, and he's always there. And then I have like a group of friends that like I play games with, and they're always there. But also like to all the artists that I've like met along the way, thanks to Fuzz, you know, these people are like amazing people, and I have every reason to like push them forward the same way I'm hoping they push me forward, because we're all there like to look out for each other. So if you guys are listening, any Anomaly Productions artists, I'm
There's
totally
lots.
willing to, I'm totally willing to get you some graphic work done, because that's what I do.
I just want to learn from you a little. That's all. I'm part
Yeah,
of
never stop
the
learning.
too. I'm just not a singer or artist or instrumental person. That's all.
We all have our talents.
We do, right? All right, guys. Well, this is Jassiel Gomez. We're going to say goodbye because I know it's been a while now. So we love you guys.
Thank you
And
guys for watching.
thank you for watching. Bye bye.